James Barnes here, Barnes Business. I am here to tell you it is not that hard. I've been running campaigns going on 20 plus years now. I've had the blessings of running a company in Austin where we ran 40, 50 campaigns at a time. And I say run, we helped facilitate the logistics and structure. If you think of it this way, campaigns, when somebody decides to run, what do you do? Well, campaigns are like a business. It's got you need to plan, you need to organize, and you need to execute. It's super easy, and you have to do it in that order: plan, organize, execute. And you got to know what vision you have and purpose you have, and that's what the campaigns bring. When you come to a consultant, you're the candidate. You're the person with the vision. You've decided to jump in. The consultant takes that vision and that purpose and helps, how do you fit it into a structure that can sell itself and get donations and things of that nature. And so you're starting a brand new business is what you're doing. And so, when I ran that company in Austin, we really supported different types of candidates, several candidates that would come to us. They kind of already had what they wanted to do, so we sold them, or we gave them a packet of just services that they could do themselves. It's self-explanatory. The way I always explain it to them is like, you have 2 weeks to plan this out, get your planning and your organizing done, and then you're off to the rec. All the rest is done. Give you an example, and I have this program, a Gantt. It's a Barnes Business Gantt. It's super easy. I even ran it for my wedding, believe it or not. And everything was right down on the money. You know what I mean? How many people were there, kids cost less, and so forth. All the moving parts, and so if you don't plan and organize effectively, you won't execute effectively because it is extremely expensive to run for campaigns, and it's extremely hard to spend that money wisely. So let's do that. Let's do that by planning and organizing. So Barnes Business, we have everything you need to plan and organize. Everything from, we know where the donors are. Obviously that's your job to reach out to them, but you need to know who they are. Call me. But let's talk through some basic structure stuff. Once again, I want to speak into that Gantt. I'm not going to show you that now. That's something, if you're interested, reach out to me, because the way I used to do it, when you run 40 campaigns at a time, it was just really structured, and it was like we were never confused at where we were in the process because we had it laid out, structurally speaking. And so that, for instance, if you're knocking on doors, and you have 10,000 doors to knock on, and you want to knock on them 3 times, that means something, and it comes out to an equation of how many man hours does that take, and how many man hours is it going to take, and so you could really plan that out. And then, so if you need X number of man hours, how many volunteers do you need, or how many paid volunteer walkers do you need, or whatever that works out to. These suites really help us get us there because we already know pretty much everything we need to know. So in other words, let me give you another example. We know all the polling sites right now today. Maybe 1 or 2 will shift a little bit, but for the most part, if you're running November 2026, we know where they're polling sites are going to be. So, we could calculate out how many signs do you need. In fact, let's jump right into that. Let's go into the campaign media schedule. I got this right here. I'll put it up here a little bit, but you write to today, like I said, campaign sign, we find the signs. Campaign sign management is a super easy tool I have, not very complex. We already know where the polling sites are going to be. You'd have to hire somebody to go grab them unless you'd already know. Once again, this is complex stuff, but if you already know where they're at, we could do the calculations of how many you're going to need. How many volunteers do you need? If you have 20 sites in your area and you want to man them all, are you going to man them from like morning to night? How many people is it? How many man hours? So all this could be planned out now, November 26th. Early voting. What are the polling sites? Already know them. We could already literally we're at the beginning, January 2nd. We could manage out what we need November. We should not be surprised. And so, like I said, I ran several campaigns, and so we couldn't be surprised at anything. We had to just know who was where, what, when, and how. Also, it tells you how much money you're going to need, because if you need, once again, 20 sites, 10 signs a site. I don't know. I'm just making numbers up. You do that math. That's how many signs you need. You're gonna have to get money to go buy those signs, and you're gonna have to have somebody deliver those signs and sign management. So it's something simple that you probably could think of on the fly, but like the whole suite is there. Sign management, really quick, easy questions. What does the city ordinance say? Well, that's a big thing. When can you put your signs out? Different things like that. But then also, date ordered, delivery date. You could also modify these however you want, but just get you set. How many signs you need, the size, print date, the total, how many stakes you need, so forth and so on. Same thing for campaign mailers. I mean, there's no reason you should be surprised, because you should sit down now, plan out what you want to do with your vision, how many people you need to vote, reach, who you talk to. You should already know the head count of your mailers. And because you know the head count of your mailers, you could do simple calculations. And if it says you need $20, $30, $40,000 to get these mailers from here to there, then you're going to have to then find that money to do that. That's how campaigns work. So that'll give you a sense of how to do that. And also, what's really cool about this is sometimes I work with candidates that have realized that their vision was greater. Like if you can get 3 volunteers and you need 100, you're going to be short. So you got to readjust all of your thinking. Business. It's basically business planning, guys. This is not that complex. So phone bank management, and we have different types. The candidate. When are we planning the candidate? Because you as a candidate need to be there. If you ain't making the calls, you're failing. Then we have volunteers making management phone calls, and you might even hire paid people. Say, I would keep separate because of different things. And then you should have a war room of sorts with things on the wall and tracking and moving, because this is not a job for life. This is a campaign for a season, and it should not be. You should not be trying to structure things. You should try to moving and flowing. This is what it looks like, because it's a battle, guys. This is you get out there and do it. So another thing I like to have, like I have here on social media, your media schedule management. Right here is your media schedule management, and these are pretty cool, because you can think out, like, do I want to do radio? Do I want to do TV? What is it going to cost me? You know what I mean? Believe it or not, there's some cool tricks to media to getting that less expensive. Once again, you could schedule out every other day. You could schedule at times. That one time in a popular, you can move it around a little bit, if you need some. But long story short, you could figure things out to get yourself into the radio, or even know how much is it going to cost. Because when you go in, I'll give you an example. We would run these pack. For packs, we'd run these campaigns for packs. We would have, once again, like I said, let's imagine 20 campaigns. We would go in and tell them what it's going to cost. We already knew. It was easy, because we knew how many people we were reaching out to, how many male households there were going to be if we're going to make a phone call, or what was it going to take to make that. And we know this stuff. None of this is unknown. It's just a lot of people. It's like starting a business. It's like you could start a business and just like a file and then let us go, or you could have it structured it out. Most people haven't structured themselves for campaign work, and it takes a season or two to get it in set. But there's cheap ways to do this. Barnes Business is one of them. We're not trying to run your campaign so much as to give it the tools and the resources and the guidance it needs. I've been doing this so long. It's like I can tell you don't do that or do this. But it costs money. That's the way it is. And this one's fun too. This is one. It's super easy. Everybody likes to keep things on their phones. On my schedule here, schedule there. But we're playing with a team, and I don't know. When I was working in Austin, we had the company Local Voice Solutions, and we had all the donor money coming in and things like that. What they expected was real time, real world stuff. And so we put things on the wall. We had a war room. and because it flows and it changes, and it's like, computers, you get lost in it. So, this is just a season. Put stuff on your wall, look at it every day, change it out regularly, because we're moving. You should be advancing in things. You should be like changing it out and high-fiving each other every day. So campaign event schedule. And the way I like to do this is something you put on your wall too. These are smaller, you can make it bigger, but like you would see, and I'm, like I said, I'm just explaining this to you what I'm looking at. It's 1 day a week each, Monday, Sunday through Saturday. I've got 3 spaces and 3 times for the event, and then for the time, because if you do more than 3, then it's good, but like you should be able to fill in this thing pretty good. You should have somebody sitting there saying, okay, there's all these events, types of events, because you got to spread out and get out from things. You can go just partisan and be really structured in that. You'll see that if you overly put yourself into like going to all the GOP clubs, but haven't gone to HOAs or haven't done things outside, you'll see that on your schedule. It'll be like, I'm going to 400 GOP things, but I don't really have any HOA events or any, chamber events. So maybe you'd see that structure's incorrect. It's just, once again, war room mentality. We're getting it on the wall, put it up there, change it regularly, look at it daily, sip your coffee, correct yourself, as the advancements are in increments. We got to march forward. You got to know where your error is and stuff. You got to know how much money you need and stuff. So I'm kind of leaning into that. And so there's a lot. This is just a small amount of the tools. Like I said, I mentioned earlier that I actually, for instance, for Bexar County, I've got a resource library of every vendor that the different campaigns throughout the seasons have used. And so we know who they are. If you're needing a specific type of vendor and you're not sure where to go, where to do, well, I have a resource library. They're available. Once again, those are some of the tools I give my clients. So I hope this covers a little bit of it. There's so much to do. I would love to sit down and see where you're at in your campaign and get you structured. At the end of the day, remember, plan, organize, then execute. Super easy. Barnes Business will get you guided along the way. Call me, let me know. We'll get it going. Blessings.